Hello. You find yourself on the morning of September 3rd as a unique array of particles. Let us separate them. 4 charges are sewn onto each side of Lawrence's vest, and they detonate simultaneously. Each charge is a solid mass of corathite, a thermobaric dwarven mining explosive. The dwarves rely on a low amount of oxygen in mining tunnels as a way to limit the amount of destruction caused by each charge. Here, there is no such limit, and the explosion greedily sucks up the same air that you do. You take fire damage. Ada, Gastmere, and Taldred, you are within 10 feet, you take 4d8 fire damage. Brenner, you are within 25 feet, you take 3d8 fire damage. Brenner Oswick, the doeskin padding inside of your armor cradles you as you are slammed against the granite of the battlements by a wave of force. You have a moment to contemplate the end of honorable combat in Faerun. Spellcasters, you can at least look in the eye. This is far more dismal. You can smell your facial hair singe. Taldred Talton, you are standing side by side with Walter Forbes. He is tossed backward, as you are, and both of you watch as John Smithfield winces for a moment as his skin blackens. Ada Worthware, your robe and eyelashes briefly ignite. You are briefly reminded of a time 30 years ago when you drank while you were sick and your face burned as you threw up. A shockwave cuts through the air. The force deafens you, Ada. The concussive force slams your jaw shut like an overtuned mousetrap. Tiny bits of enamel give your saliva a gritty, frothy texture when you manage to exhale. You take damage from the shockwave. Ada, Gastmere, and Taldred, you are within 10 feet. You take 4d6 bludgeoning. Brenner, you are within 25 feet. You take 4d4 bludgeoning. Lissa Gastmere, you can see nothing but blue sky as you are thrown from the battlements. We would describe most falls as unceremonious, but not yours. You cross your arms across your sternum and close your eyes. A sculptor must have hewn you from marble. Your black hair is the only part of you in motion as you land with a dull thud at the soil at the foot of the battlements. You find yourself lying next to the supine figure of Paul Arthrade, who groans in pain. You take falling damage, 2d6 bludgeoning. Lawrence is vaporized into nothingness. The Monk of Soon closes his eyes and rolls unsuccessfully. His left femur snaps as he tumbles off of his gravity into the ground. An archer's neck is snapped as her skull impacts the granite. Shrapnel, metal, stone, bones, and teeth cuts through the air, penetrating your soft flesh. You take piercing damage. Ada, Gastmere, and Taldred, you're within 10 feet, you take 1d6 piercing. Brenner, you're within 25 feet, you take 1d4 piercing. Taldred Talton, the keys around Forbes' neck jingle as he is tossed to the ground beside you. You see that there is an irregular rectangle of shrapnel sticking out of his chest. You hear a wet gurgle and a call out that you are familiar with, "Medic!" from down below the wall over your right shoulder. You watch as Samantha Ruthenberg touches John Smithfield's face and his charred flesh comes off in her hand. Brenner Oswick, a purple dragon banner loosened from its tether, lands at your feet and wraps around your left boot. Samantha Ruthenberg makes eye contact with you, Brenner. She puts her hand on the hilt of her sword, looking toward the temple. Your quest log has been updated. In the temple, the ground shakes. You hear a massive thud and then distant screaming. Nothing Gold, your heart drops like a crystal lead glass down a deep stone well, tumbling end over end. Take a deep breath, you will need it. Someone is hunting you. The glass shatters, and you know you will never put it back together again. Yoros Thnalian, You receive the contents of a wide beam, long range command message spell from hundreds of miles away. We felt that here in Camp Ember. Enough is enough. The Fist will come to keep order in Cormyr if no one else will. Major Moss, we will arrive within the day to bring the law. Hold fast. Roll initiative.
Everyone or just the people in the temple?
Both sets of people, everybody.
Sorry, could I get a damage recap? Because I was thinking about something and then the numbers smushed together in my head.
Absolutely. A damage recap for Gastmir.
Yes.
4d8 fire damage, 4d6 bludgeoning damage, and 1d6 piercing damage. Oh, and 2d6 bludgeoning damage from the fall.
Question, would I have had time to rage due to my feral instinct?
I would say absolutely.
Okay, so that was... Sorry, again, 4d8 fire.
Mm-hmm.
That was bludgeoning and piercing as well, right?
Yes. We can resolve the fire first if you like. 4d8 fire. Gastmir, your skin is singed.
$14.
And you take damage from the shockwave as well. 46 bludgeoning. We may benefit from a damage recap for everybody. Why don't we do that? Once we've assessed Lissa Gastmir's problems, we can check with the other three.
That's 17 halved. Okay. And the piercing.
1d6 piercing. From shrapnel.
If it's a 1, does that drop to 0 when it's halved?
It does not.
1. Thank you.
And did you get the 2d6 bludgeoning from being tossed over the battlements?
D6, no. That is a 7, which is a 3 when it's halved. I think it rounds down. Okay.
How about the other denizens of the fireball? Ada, do you need a damage recap? Or walk me through how injurious was this to you?
32 damage.
I do want to note that last time you said you wanted to reflexively cast shield, which I don't know if that would have...
I judge that this is a cinematic explosion and it would do nothing.
Figured being tossed away also wouldn't let me intercede towards Taldred. Because I was literally concussed backwards. I'm also solid. I took 28 damage total.
I suppose you are solid. You may need to wipe a bit of paladin off of your armor, however.
Ugh.
What about Taldred?
44.
Oh.
What does that put you at?
49.
Euros and nothing gold. Perfectly unaffected by any of this. How wonderful for you. How about those initiative rolls?
I got a 6, so did Ada, and I'm on the negative, he's on the positive.
Ada with a 6 plus, Brenner with a 6 minus.
There's 10.
Gastmir with a 10. Did you say Mir? I like that. That's a good shortening.
Oh, I think that
7.
Mike just ate the rest of it.
Those Euros with an 8?
No, 27.
I was going to say, I don't know if it's possible for you to roll an 8. Euros with a 27.
I got a 5, which I don't know if this affects, but I think maybe I should drop in the initiative order so I act as close to Yoros as possible. Maybe. I don't know.
You'll have the opportunity to do some things when it's Yoros' turn, certainly, as you are, in fact. Your fates seem rather entwined, don't they? And who am I missing? I'm missing one here. Taldred,
Yes.
what's your initiative?
14.
14. At the top of the order, we have Yoros. Back at the temple. The ground shakes a bit underfoot, Yoros, but you're relatively insulated from whatever just happened outside. The message echoes in your head. It's your turn.
So the only message I received was hold the line, correct?
No, you received a... would you like me to read it again?
Yes, please.
You receive the contents of a wide beam, long range command message spell from hundreds of miles away. We felt that here in Camp Ember. Enough is enough. The Fist will keep order in Cormyr if no one else will. Major Moss, we will arrive within the day to bring the law. Hold fast.
Okay. So immediately I'm going to be on high alert. I am going to draw both of my weapons.
Both?
Both.
So I know about the dagger. What's the other one?
So what you will see in front of you immediately is I will pull the dagger from my back. That is sheath there, and that will be on the heavily armored hand, and then from the lightly armored hand you will just see my hand reach out and a dark portal will appear, and I will pull out a black and silverish sword, short sword, and it crackles with a small black glow.
You do so.
And about this time as well, you will see, if you are even remotely, you are affiliated with magic, so you can kind of detect it. You will detect a faint black aura around me as well.
So would I be able to assess from that it's probably the Shadow Weave?
I would say yes.
Does Yoros look happy right now, or what's his general vibe?
Yoros.
I think, he draws his weapon and there's immediately, they're standing off, nothing gold kind of flattens against the door, alright, what's your move?
You see his eyes get wide and you'll see he looks stressed.
She takes that deep breath and then says, alright, that was their signal. You said we were gonna check the other gates, right?
I don't know if checking is on the table anymore.
What do you mean by that? What do you know?
The Fists are going to be here soon.
How soon?
Soon.
How soon?
Soon.
4 hours.
Eventually.
Alright, so as I see it, we have two options. We can stay to defend the temple. Maybe 3, I can't count. Or we go check out what that blast was, although I have every confidence that our comrades can hold the line there. Or, as you said, it seemed like the other gates may be less well defended. And it might be worth us going...
We're going to secure the area, and then we're going to check up on our companions. Gates be damned.
Both of you roll perception.
Can't see past Yoros. Too short.
You detect nothing. Going down the order. Taldred Talton. You find yourself standing at the edge of a crater. It's your turn.
Okay. So. One second. Taldred is going to instinctively, we'll say, channel divinity. This is going to give basically everyone in the area except Taldred, including the NPCs, 5 hit points as a starter.
But healing or temp?
What's that?
Is that healing or temporary?
Okay, so it's healing, but it doesn't work if it goes above your half your hit points. You can only be healed to halfway.
What's the radius on that? Or does it
I
hit
don't know.
everything
We'll check. We'll see.
in...
Let me double check. It's 30 feet.
Where do you center it?
I think Taldred is the center, so anything that's within 30 feet of him, he can heal, which should, yeah, anything within 6 squares, right? So he should be able to hit everyone he's trying to.
All of the paladins of the Radiant Heart have been healed by you. It remains your turn. You cast a spell, surging with power, channeling divine energy, healing everybody around you. Actually, does that hit? I think with the Z-axis, I think this does not hit Paul and Gastmere, who I think are down below. Let me update Paul.
Oh, let me see.
I don't think you'll work on
You choose
Gasmir
any
anyways if it...
creature. Choose any creature within 30 feet of you and divide the hit points. This creature can restore blood. You can't use this feature on undead or construct. It says nothing about line of sight.
Okay. I will.
I was gonna say, if it only heals targets up to half their health, and I haven't dropped below half, then it wouldn't do anything, right?
Right.
Yeah, so it doesn't hit Gasmir because of that. I still have hit points.
Got it. Okay, I will update Paul. Paul is healed by that. I defer to you on this, Vajra. Go ahead. It's your turn.
And then he calls out, Brenner, status.
At this point, I still imagine Brenner is flat on his back, tangled within a purple Dragon Knight's banner. He just lets out a groan. Live.
That's a start. Taldred looks around, and now he's... Let me think. Either perception or medicine. Dealer's choice, I guess. He wants to look and consider who is the most wounded around him.
I like perception.
Okay. $21.
You sense that some of the beings around you are very dead. You think that the person who is most Grievously injured, yet still alive, is probably Walt Forbes, who has a large piece of shrapnel in his chest right next to you.
God damn it.
You can't really get a good look at Gasmir or Paul, who are over the edge, and you think you heard, with that 21 perception, you think you heard that gurgling of the medic. That was probably from either Paul or Gasmir, and it didn't sound like Gasmir.
However, at least he was able to, like, cry out for a heal. It seems like Walt... does Walt look incapacitated?
He does.
Okay.
Anything further would require maybe taking a knee and doing a medicine check.
Gotcha. Is that all my momentum for now?
I'd say no. I think you still got some
Okay.
momentum.
Then I would like to check Walter.
Roll that medicine.
I'm sorry, is it Walt or Walter? I keep mixing these up.
It's both.
Oh, okay. He goes by Walt or Walter. Okay, excellent. Medicine. $15.
You have a sense that if you pulled this shrapnel out straight away, that would probably kill him, but certainly you can't leave a giant piece of steel plate sticking through his sternum for very much longer. This may be more complicated than you originally anticipated.
Dimensions of this piece of steel.
It is roughly a 1/4 inch thick. It is about 2 inches long and 1 inch wide. Imagine half of a roofing tile. Roll intelligence.
$11.
Where did this shrapnel come from?
Huh.
And I think that probably ends your turn. The Paladins of the Radiant Hearts move next. Samantha moves over. Back to John. She takes some measurement from his wrist and stands up and shouts. Just a wordless syllable. Paul Arthraid takes a knee next to Gasmir and coughs up blood. Walt Forbes groans in pain beneath you, Taldred. The Lancer charges through the gate, looking for the enemy that caused this. The Paladins end their turn. Gastmir with a 10.
Gastmir has her claws out, and she will literally claw herself up the wall with my wall climb. Lizard climb in this game, not spider. And she looks fucking furious. Like, she shrieks as she leaps over the edge, or the ruined edge, lands, looking at the smoking ruin of where this guy blew up. And I'm assuming it's like human paste in that spot now.
Correct, yes. I have left every NPC where they were, and you can infer that there is a solid mass of gore. There are 2 boots, the remains of some breeches, and bits of bone and flesh that are difficult to identify. The entire operation smells like sulfur and burned hair. As you scramble over the edge, you become aware that you have knocked several of these charred bricks down below.
Well, Gasmir clearly doesn't. The player wasn't like, oh shit, that one guy. But Gasmir doesn't give a fuck if these bricks land on that guy's head. He was still coughing. He's alive. It's fine. She snarls and says, "Traitors!" And then she fucking takes off. She's bolting.
Takes off where? Which direction?
She is headed after Nothing, Gold, and Euros.
Take your move.
Could you remind me how actually, it doesn't matter. She's gonna fucking leap off.
Where are the stairs? Does Gaspar believe in stairs? The stairs are in the
No.
gatehouse, but this fact seems irrelevant to you.
She can fucking scramble down the wall like upside down, so it's the stairs are incredibly irrelevant to her. So she's gonna. That's 15, 25. I think she gets to around here, like accounting for the wall. But she can double move. On the other hand, if she's not doing much of anything else, but she already moved a bit, so I don't know, somewhere around there probably. It's fine.
I think that's reasonable, and I think was there any? I think you've definitely still got some momentum here. If there's anything else you'd like to do, cast, infer, or judge about the scene.
No, I think that's all she does. She's got tunnel vision currently, and she thinks that she's been betrayed. And she thinks she knows who did it, so
The
she
feeling.
doesn't know shit. She's like, I have connected the dots. You haven't connected shit.
Or perhaps you have. With a 6+, Ada.
Can you describe to me? I was more or less at the epicenter of this suicide bomb. How much blood and guts cover my face that's not mine?
A substantial amount. You were also, your face has deep scratches in it from shrapnel that came from somewhere. Roll intelligence. You feel that over the entire front of your robe, there is a massive amount of gore that belongs to someone other than yourself, thankfully.
Natural 1, which is a 10 on intelligence.
You can feel a bit of a screw embedded inside your cheek.
Do I hear ringing in my ears? Was the explosion loud?
You do, yes. The shockwave briefly deafens you. You can currently you watch as Samantha Ruthenberg howls something, but you hear nothing. You think you hear Taldred saying something, but he sounds like he's hundreds of miles away.
Am I on the ground or am I still on the wall?
You are on the ruined battlements, perhaps teetering near the edge. You wouldn't want to fall, would you?
I wouldn't. I would like to get myself up and look outward.
You gaze across the landscape. What are you looking for, Ada? You see a distant tree line of conifers.
If this was the breach point for the wall for an army to come in.
You see no army, but you feel like you are standing on a breach point. You wonder if these battlements may collapse underfoot.
I am going to... Alright, so... Paul Athrade is next to me, yes? New Paul, not old Paul.
Paul Athrade is at the bottom of the battlements. He is 15 feet below you, lying supine.
Is there anybody that I think I can get to who's on the ground?
When you say on the ground, do you mean anybody who is incapacitated or down on the ground below, like below the wall?
I see. My concerns are that this place will either be overrun by some sort of Zentaran bullshit, or that it will collapse and anybody who's unconscious will be taken with it. My goal is to drag them to another section that's more stable.
Both of these concerns seem well-founded, and how you prioritize them will, for better or for worse, be up to you. If you'd like to inspect a body or verify someone's vitals, we would do that with a medicine check. You see various limbs, bodies, torsos, mangled people here on the battlements with you.
I would like to do a brief assessment, and anybody who has their eyes closed and looks like they could be alive, I'm doing it very quickly, the closest person to me. I'm kind of in a panic, so I don't imagine I will be a good assessor.
The Monk of Soon is lying face down, and there is a tremendous pool of blood around his waist. John Smithfield has no eyes to see anymore. There is an archer whose neck is twisted at an 180-degree angle. You see Taldred Talton attending to a grievous wound in Walt Forbes's chest. You see... Go ahead.
I think I have enough information. I'd like to rush up to the Monk of Soon.
You do so. He's lying face down.
I would like to roll him over, and if I see a spurt of blood come out, I know I'm supposed to apply pressure, so I'll probably do that mindlessly.
There is a general visage that he has been flayed by the explosion. You look for somewhere to apply pressure, and you see that essentially there is nothing but bone and charred flesh from the top of his head to his waist. Where will you apply pressure?
I'm gonna leave him. It's pointless, but I think I'm gonna spend the rest of my turn gawking at this horrific sight. I don't think I'm gonna be able to compose everything.
Your composure falters. His waist snaps back, and as you let go, he flops face down again with a sickening crunch. There's a sizzle as his body lands on the hot stones. With a 6-, Brenner Oswick.
Brenner's been subject to siege weaponry before, so I don't feel like he's completely out of his depth. Trying to sit up from his position, untangle himself from the banner on his foot, and take a second wind, which is a bonus action to heal a little bit.
You steel yourself.
Get 18 HP back.
You find strength from within.
As he's composed himself, he'll stand up, immediately take a step over to Taldrin. I'm no medic, but I've got hands. What can I do?
Bring people to me.
All right. Outside of Walter Forbes being eyeless at this point, there is no other presumably living injured person.
You think that both of the paladins that you can see are likely alive and injured. Samantha Ruthenberg seems decently charred, but is perfectly able to move, stand, and yell. You hear Paul Arthraid groaning down below, but both seem alive.
He'll turn to Taldra, seeing that at least the party that he has come up onto this wall with are at the very least stand. I'm gonna go check below. Brenner does believe in staircases, and I believe it was in the centerpiece here, correct?
That's exactly right.
So I think he'd probably make it to the top of the stairs by the end of his act.
I think that sounds perfectly reasonable. Back in the temple, Nothing Gold with a 5.
Alright, so we determined that this is out of character, we're gonna hold down the temple, so to speak, like make sure it's safe before we move on.
That is what I stated.
Alright, so Nothing Gold will, after another wary look at Yoros's 2 weapons, sort of slink by him and start down the hallway towards the beginning, and she stops to look at this patrolling soldier.
Yes, you see, as you turn, you see a paladin of the Radiant Heart moving to cut you off, perhaps unsure exactly of what or who he's stopping. He seems to sense that there is something happening here that he has a obligation to intervene on. He moves towards you with an outstretched hand. He's not holding a weapon. His weapon is on his hip, but he holds up his hand as if to say, "Stop."
She stops and she says, "Paladin."
He still doesn't say anything. He's just holding and waiting.
You're aware of what the rest of your people in this temple went out to do.
He calls out to you. Yes, of course.
Alright, we need you to help us hold this temple here. People may come here looking for shelter.
Roll persuasion.
$13.
One moment. He narrows his eyes. Why were you going toward Praetor Forbes' office? What were the two of you doing?
It seemed very suspicious to us that you were the only person left here in this temple.
His hand finds his sword. He puts his hand on the hilt, and he looks at you. Suspicious.
I was concerned that this would be the first place the Zentarum would attack.
You can tell that his heart is beating inside of his chest. He looks between you and Euros, and the fact that Euros has just unsheathed a blade of abyssal energy does not seem to put him at ease. Your sudden movement toward the door does not seem to put him at ease. He looks hesitant, but he is awaiting perhaps a attack from the Zentarum within.
She's still not holding her weapon, right? And she's sort of like, okay, the thing that you had us here to consult to do, the keys to that are in that office. The Zentarum know about that. So they have reason to attack this temple rather than the people that are gathered out on the battlement, I thought. However, it seems like we have just been proven incorrect. And so I would like to go make sure that Praetor Forbes and the Prophet are okay.
He nods slowly, but says, I think we need to stay here. I think that if the temple is meant to be protected, I don't want either of you leaving.
Are you the only one here?
Yes, for now, other than the acolytes below.
She turns to Euros and says, I'm inclined to agree with him. Can you message? How far does this talking thing that you do extend?
Not far enough.
Alright, you or me, who stays? There's 2 doors. I'll protect one. Our friend, I'm sorry I didn't catch your name, will protect the other.
It stated we'll secure the area, so that's what we'll do. I can't message them, but once we have once we have reasonable belief that this area is secure, we need to get to our companions.
Okay, I believe they'll find us sooner rather than later. Brenner's there, Ada's there.
With all due respect and past experiences, it's always best to go to them and not wait on them.
Funny, my experience has been the complete opposite. But fine, yes. Do we only need to worry about the downstairs, she says to the other paladin. Are there any other entries into this place?
There's only 2 entries to the temple itself, the west gate and the south gate. The south one faces the street, but you already knew that. If there are other ways into the temple, I'm unaware of them.
Alright, I would like to go ward one of the doors then.
Take your movement.
How strong does this paladin seem in terms of being armored?
He is wearing full plates with a purple tabard. The plate is interlocking and seems to be well made. All of the paladins, since you've been here, seem extremely well armored.
Did I get the impression they're like on our level of experience, battle-wise?
You have had some time to study the different paladins of the Radiant Heart, and some of them seem to have great power within. 2 of them would be Samantha and Paul, who both seem to be rather venerable in their own right. This paladin seems to be a strong combatant and would not be trivial to overpower for sure.
All right, what's your name?
Skip.
All right, I'm Nothing Gold. I'm gonna go ward this southern door.
I'm gonna come with you.
All right, Yoros, will you get the other one? And then I don't know if her movement will actually let her get to the southern door, but she's heading that way.
I think right about where you are right now is a good representation of your momentum.
Okay, and then she'll turn and look back at Yoros, and that'll be the end of her momentum, I think.
And at the top of the order, we have Euros, so this flows nicely.
Simply just move towards the door.
Euros, what is going through your mind? Do you feel betrayed?
Betrayed? No. I don't have enough information to come to a conclusion. All I know is I've heard a rumble. I was sent a message, which implies that the Fists have been monitoring the area, so that means something is out of control. But I don't have enough information. So I am just on alert and securing the area.
Take your movement as you see fit.
Just gonna move double time towards the door. Should be enough.
Good.
Can we yell across to each other?
I think both of you are wonderful yellers. Yes.
Hey, Yoros, have the Fists been interested in this area long?
Span of time I cannot say, but anywhere they can invoke or bring in under their jurisdiction.
All right. Are you not saying because of your loyalty to them, or because something terrible will happen to you if you say it out loud?
I'm a soldier of the Fists. Of course I say it out of obligation to them.
So your loyalty is to them first and foremost, and not to the person or the power that fuels your magic.
Aye.
Where'd you get your cloak from?
The standard issued cloak. Are you referring to like the tabard I'm wearing over my armor? I presume?
The one underneath it, the dark one. I think if I'm imagining the layering correctly.
Yeah, so there's the dark armor, and then over top of it is the
Yeah, so the
tabard.
armor itself. So maybe she would have said armor instead of cloak, but
Okay.
I think she goes quiet then.
Back on the wall. Talton.
So, Walter Forbes has a smallish piece of steel sticking out of his chest. Taldred believes was like a check involved with that. I think if I remove it, he'll die shortly afterwards.
We'll say no check required. You know from your extensive medical training that it is wise generally to leave foreign objects in unless you have a plan.
Right, but like Taldred also has divine healing, which has no equal. So I assume that I don't want to assume, but my feeling is that perhaps he can remove it and then heal on the spot, and that will help close the wound.
I can see why you would feel that you have mastery over things like someone exsanguinating and you have a sense that this seems reasonable. You've saved many people, Taldred. What's one more?
That's not quite where my mind's at. Where my mind is at is this is your fault because you make the most hateable NPCs possible. So if this fails, I'm like, fucking tried, guys. Don't I tell you? Oops. I mean, he was gonna bleed to death one way or the other. Gave it my best. Like this is getting a level 1 cure wounds. Taldred is gonna remove the piece and level 1 cure wounds him.
Okay. First, roll a dexterity check.
Fuck, really? Oh, that's not great. All right.
Go ahead.
He dies. Just on the spot. Like, he explodes into pieces the instant Taldred touches him.
Blood surges from the wound. You extract the piece of metal, and bits of bone and tissue come with it. Blood gushes across your face and runs down your chin, Taldred. One moment, let me roll damage. Forbes gasps in pain and goes unconscious. How much do you heal for?
Excellent question. Let's find out. $13.
With a sudden gasp of air, he is again brought back into the realm of consciousness.
Yay.
Still your turn, Taldred.
One down. Taldred. Nah, I gotta keep looking him over. Any other things on him that seem critical, life-threatening?
You see no other obvious wounds other than his singed skin and the general character of being knocked around by a bomb. The 2 portal keys swing ominously around his neck as you work on him.
Let's say... So Samantha is looking at Smithfield, right?
She is cradling his disintegrating skull.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Taldred just shakes his head. What was the status? Actually, perhaps this would be better asking character. Yeah, he'll ask, Brenner, what do you have for me? Oh, shit, no. And then he... well, actually, yeah, that's perfect, because he looks around and realizes Brenner is gone. He goes, what the fuck?
You were offered a second set of hands, but now you can't seem to find them.
Taldred trusts Brenner. He assumes that wherever he went, it has something to do with what he asked. Taldred will call out, who else is hurt?
From down below the battlements, you hear a voice call out, "Down here!"
Taldred moves over there? What can I see from here?
You see a paladin trying to take one knee and stand up. From down below, you can just see blood running down his armor. You're not sure if it's his.
Okay, just the last thing I'll do is take in the terrain. How accessible is this man?
Not very. You would have to jump down, and that is more than a jump you could take in armor. You'd break both your legs. Unless you have some way of scaling it efficiently. underfoot you realize that there are still small fires burning from the residue of whatever the bomb was.
That's a concern, though. Taldred, last thing he'll do is he'll call out and say, "We need to move people away from the fire."
You call that out. The Paladins of the Radiant Heart go next. Walt Forbes tries to regain consciousness. He coughs. Samantha Ruthenberg stands up, brushing her hands of the ash of John Smithfield, and calls out, "Where the fuck is that dryad?" Come on. I know you all know. She sounds filled with rage. She takes her movement. She uses the dash action. She arrives at the bottom of the stairs at the end of her movement. Gastmere. You are something feral, something more than your companions. You are ahead of everybody right now as you land here, having used your momentum to go down the side of the battlements. There is soil underfoot. It's your turn.
I think the rage does wear off because I haven't damaged anyone or been damaged as much as I would like to have punched something on the way, but I did not. So it does give her like a slight moment of lucid thinking here where she goes, I don't actually know where the fuck that dryad is, actually. And then Samantha's like, where the fuck's that dryad? So Gastmere also yells out, where the fuck is that dryad? And she's gonna do a double action as well. Heading the way that nothing golden euros went, but she doesn't actually know where they went. So she's just gonna head that way and hope that she sees something, you know.
Last you saw, they were heading south, back toward the temple.
She's gonna go ahead and... Let's see, I've got an 80 movement if I use double movement. Okay, 10... 20. I'm gonna be off the map.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
you will be,
just
yes.
gone. Whoosh.
You fly. One moment.
Because if she thinks that nothing golden euros did this, like, wouldn't it be more sensible to assume that they've actually retreated to the Temple of Syriac? But
That seems pretty sensible to me. Yes, I would tend to agree with your internal assessment there.
Yeah, she's gonna keep running the way that she saw them go, for starters, and just look around and see if anyone's sticking out.
You see, there are crowds here running west. There are civilians in number fleeing the scene. There are people pushing past each other, causing crush conditions as the crowd tries to get away from the explosion. You still have some movement here. I think you can get about halfway down this street, but let me know if you have any questions here about East Rose Market.
I'm assuming that there's nobody in sight who looks even reasonably not panicked, like everyone's basically running and doesn't really look like they know much of anything.
Yes, that is the immediate sense that you get. Yes, that this is purely civilians at the market fleeing the sound of a massive explosion, certainly awaiting the next one.
Okay, well, she's going to keep moving and try and see if there's any paladins outside the temple, but I'm guessing not.
You guess correctly. You see no guards, just a foul-eyed mendicant watching you carefully as you run down the flagstones. Back on the wall, Ada.
How bad is the ringing in my ears? Did I hear Taldrid say to get everyone off the wall?
It sounded like a distant echo. You did hear it, but it sounds like he's very, very far away.
I think... Do I see that happening, or is that outside my...
The Lancer moving? You do. She's been riding the whole time, charging some invisible enemy.
Okay. I think I would like to... Can I see New Paul downstairs?
You can.
How hard would it be for me to get down there?
Using what faculties? Simply dropping down?
Yes, I want to analyze, can I simply drop down? And if not, I have a spell that can do that.
If you simply drop down, you'd break both your legs. You watched Gasmere get tossed off of there earlier, and that was certainly deleterious to her physical form, you would assume. Just dropping down would be tough.
I believe I will not take falling damage if I cast the spell Jump.
I believe that's correct. You have a variety of arcane tools designed to bridge a gap like this.
I would like to cast Jump.
You surge with power. You cast a spell. You violate the spell plague. You contact the demon weave.
I'll grasp my book as I do it. It slams shut, but I'm too dexterous for that kind of nonsense right now. I will leap off of the battlement.
You arrive on the soil of Cormyr.
I would like to try and attend to New Paul.
He is shakily standing up. He looks like, more than anything, he's in shock from potentially being thrown off of the 15-foot battlement in full plate armor. He has no obvious injuries other than blood running down the front of his armor. It is unclear if it's his or someone else's. He sees you and eyes you up carefully. He tries to speak, but it just comes out as a hoarse gasp.
I will offer him my hand.
He
to help him up.
takes it. You take his hand and help him to his feet. He grunts a thank you.
I'd like to turn around swiftly and see if I can see anything else from this perspective. Maybe in the direction that the Lancer is going.
Roll perception.
$15.
Where is the attack?
That's what I'm saying. I would like to lead Paul away from the fires that are at the base of this place. He can lean on me if he needs.
He does so for a couple steps, and then he finds his footing and is more than able to walk with you.
I'm going to pull out my staff and hold it in both hands and look at him.
You do so. A young face looks back.
I am attempting to instruct him on what we're supposed to do here. This is probably his first fight.
Make your attempt.
I just have. By pulling out my weapon and gesturing to him. It's your turn.
He doesn't seem to understand.
All right. Well, I guess we'll end there.
Brenner.
Brenner will brush past Samantha completely. If she says anything, he's saying nothing. He has a one-track mind on getting to the injured on the bottom floor, not knowing that Ada has jumped off. And it's about 60 feet from here. You could roughly estimate, make it at least within eyesight of those.
Please allow me to interrupt you.
Sure.
When you try to go north, Samantha does stop you. She tries to grab your collar with her gauntlet. Do you let her?
No.
Roll strength.
26.
I have to look something up very quickly. She narrowly is unable to stop you, but she calls out, "Hey, Oswick,
At the time, injured.
we have betrayers to kill."
Maybe you do. He just throws his hand up and is leaving the gate.
She's unable to stop you.
Doubly frustrated by... He was going to attempt to gain assistance, but the Lancer has seemingly run off. And in a fume, he will make his way over towards what he assumed to be a collapsed new pole.
You see him standing up, of his own volition. Him and Ada seem to be having some type of miscommunication. He looks a bit overwhelmed.
So I see Ada gesturing aggressively with her staff, correct?
Yes, I'm doing like the choke up maneuver, like when you hold a bat and you want to like really grasp it and find the weighting. Like I'm very overtly gesturing that I'm holding a staff.
Brenner will approach with both hands raised, shaking his head. I wasn't before, but at this point I am actually out of my depth. What is going on?
Army! I thought there was an army! I'll shout.
Brenner will generously wave his arm towards what he'll look over. If there is something there, he'll be equally surprised as I will be. To an empty field, correct?
You gesture toward the unspoiled landscape of Cormyr.
Bomb.
I'll look at you bewildered.
Paul's
We're
hand
trusting prophet.
Paul's hand finds his bastard sword when you say army. He looks over his shoulder, also seeing nothing.
This would be a great breach point!
Yeah. We should get back inside. To the medic.
Okay! I will walk past... Oh, I can't do anything.
Still Brenner's turn.
He's mostly just gesticulating back towards the gate at this, trying to convince them to just fucking go back inside.
Nothing gold with a 5. Back at the Temple of the Radiant Heart.
Okay, so I think leaving Yoros to his own preparations to that other door, she will continue approaching the southern door, and sort of talking very quickly to this paladin as they're trying to plan out exactly how one would defend this very wide door. Is it like split in the middle? Like there's two in the open out or in?
It is not. There is no physical door blocking this. This is an open archway. This is a massive temple. You wonder, could these doors be closed even if you wanted to?
Interesting. So cover would be important. She would suggest she take one corner and he takes the other. But then she's still puzzling over what kind of weapon does he have? Does he have reach?
Nothing gold. In your hard heart, have you forgotten his name?
Skip.
Very good. He does not have much reach. He has a longsword on his left hip. Most of the paladins are armed with small edged weapons.
So I have a little bit of reach. I can also create something of an animate machine which can use magic to cover a wider area if you would feel comfortable having that next to you.
Roll persuasion.
$18.
You are able to create the type of camaraderie you're looking for. You say we. You say, how can we defend this? You say, how are we able to do this? And it seems like it lands. His eyes are wary, but you can tell that Skip is on your side, at least for now. He offers to take the opposite corner from you so that you have more visibility and he can look down to the southeast. In this configuration.
And then did he seem amenable to this? He's not like wary of either animate machines or magic.
Evidently not.
All right. She will create her eldritch cannon. This time it sort of looks a little bit like a firebird in the space next to him, which I'll create a little token, a circle.
I thought I made a token, but I don't know if I loaded it into Roll20. So yes, let's do that.
And it is the flamethrower configuration.
What exactly does it look like?
So it looks a little bit like a sparrow, but with very long legs and very thin wings. And again, just like the rabbit, it sort of looks like a wire frame that's made out of twigs and the sort of carbonized vine almost, and there are wisps of flames where you would expect to see feathers.
I love that. You create this from thin air. It quickly assembles itself, and Euros, you can see this out of the left hand of your vision. You can see a small being of divine power summoned from nothing.
That will be her action, but to finish up the turn, she'll point towards Euros and say, I've got extra ammunition if you need it on your side.
And Euros, it becomes your turn.
Noted. Move to the door, and I will look. So, big old perception check to check the alleys.
Sounds good. You see the oaks and the larches swaying in the breeze. You can smell sulfur on the air. Roll perception again. Smells like an explosive. Still, your turn.
Am I able to gauge, I guess, the direction the smell is coming from?
Not quite with that 8.
And I also look over at Nothing Gold and Skip and make sure they are set up properly as well.
From what you can tell, they are set up in something resembling a defensive position.
There's nothing gold look right now. Does she look at uneased? Or kind of...
She looks very intent. You sort of get the impression of like some sort of predator, sinking down into shadows, just waiting to pounce.
I guess I'll hold action for the rest of the turn.
Back on the wall. Taldred Talton.
So, this is weird. Paul is up and about. And I assume I could hear the conversation that Brenner and Ada had, right? They would be yelling, yeah?
Brenner
Definitely.
was yelling.
So
So was
Taldred's
I.
assuming they're back on the way up. That's all good. The archer is dead, I assume.
You can't help but assume her head is rotated on its socket.
That's what I figured. Taldred will start moving Walt towards the stairs then.
Remind me your strength, Taldred.
So I didn't mean carry him. If he needs to be carried, Taldred will not attempt to carry him, for the record, but it's a -1.
You could drag him, but it's going to be slow. It's gonna reduce your movement to 10 feet a turn. You could do it,
He
but
definitely wouldn't even try that, because he was in critical condition recently. He wants him moved gently, not jankily.
makes sense.
So if he, although he may just move him a little bit away from the fire, I guess. Yeah, nobody else seems. Yeah, everyone else is dead except Walt up here, right?
From what you can tell.
Is Walter Forbes conscious?
Perhaps barely. Unable to speak, but at the edge of unconsciousness again. He was unconscious, you healed him, and now he is barely conscious.
All right. Taldred will drag him 10 feet, we'll say. Just to, right next to where Taldred's standing. Yeah, he'll move him to there at least.
You do so, pulling him along and setting him next to this broken ballista.
And, yeah, he's just gonna wait for Brenner and Ada, I guess.
The paladins of the Radiant Heart go. The Lancer continues charging down the eastern road. Paul looks between you, Ada, and you, Brenner, and says, sounding somewhat exhausted but ready to act, he says, "What next?"
Medical attention.
"For whom?"
Just going to hold his fist out, or his hand directly towards him.
He takes your hand, but he's not sure what to do with it.
He'll pull him back towards the gate. This is not the exchange he was expecting, but an opportunity to forcibly drag him towards the gate.
You pull him along, and he resists a bit. He's not quite sure. Again, there's a bit of a miscommunication here.
You, medic,
He tilts his
inside.
head.
Soldier, you're covered in blood. You fell down 15 feet. You need to be inspected.
Fine, okay. He seems, at best, shell-shocked.
I feel that Brenner is more than accustomed to dealing with people. shell shocked at this point.
Certainly. You pull him along. You give him a good tug. Ada, you see this, of course. I think he ends his turn. Samantha Ruthenberg goes off the south side of the map here. Gasmir, you can sense somebody running behind you, carefully following the same path you are. Back on the wall. No, not back on the wall. Back in East Rose Market. Gasmir.
She takes a glance over her shoulder, but I think she already kind of figured out that Samantha's around.
Yes, you see a paladin in full plate armor charging, going along the same path you are, pushing her way through the crowd.
If anyone might think that there'd be like a sense of camaraderie between two people both wanting to strangle Nothing Gold, that would be wrong, because Gasmir wants to do it first, so she's going to pick up the pace.
You're driven by vengeance.
Yes. I think a double movement takes me off the map again.
I would say so. If you dash, I think you can scramble your way up the stairs. And you see something. Still, your turn, Gasmir. As you approach the top of the stairs, you see something. You see Nothing Gold holding a corner. You see a construct, a small, delicate-looking avian creature composed of blackened twigs standing alongside a paladin of the Radiant Heart. Both of them seem to be waiting for something like you to come up the stairs. Nothing Gold, do you have a martial expression? Are you waiting for something? Do you appear to be guarding something? Are you... If something comes running up the stairs, what is your countenance like?
Again, she has her hand on this coil of rope on her waist and a very intense look. But I think if she has that, second to look at Gasmir running up the steps, she'll signal to Skip, like, she's okay, this is fine.
You do so, but you're not sure if he saw. Gasmir, still your turn. You see, as you go up the stairs, you see Nothing Gold seeming to transmit information. She looks to the paladin holding the other pillar and then back. It's your turn.
The action economy is going to get a little bit weird here, but Gasmir is rapidly sprouting scales and claws again. And she shouts out, "Assassin! Traitor!" And she is going to take her 20 free movement, and she's essentially like... We're probably ending my action on the fact that she is literally leaping at Nothing Gold, and my intent is to grapple. But I don't have an action anymore, so that's kind of in the air.
You are literally in the air. You are mid-leap. You are throwing all of your weight and power through the air at the Dryad. Ada. You watch as Brenner pulls Paul Arthright along. There's smoke in your lungs.
I would like to leap back onto the battlement. I still have jump active. It's active for 1 minute.
You land amongst a pile of gore and broken bodies.
Does Brenner see this happen?
Do you see Ada contact some abyssal force and jump up onto the battlements? You do, and it gives you pause.
This at least explains how she got down here.
So there's an archer to my south.
There
Is this the one with the broken neck?
No, she has a hand on her bow, and she is looking out over the horizon the same way you were, anticipating an attack that has yet to materialize.
Do you see anything?
She calls out, "Nothing yet!"
I'll nod curtly at her and move toward where Taldred is, skirting the edge of this thing, so as this ruined minaret or whatever, so as not to accidentally kill myself.
You move delicately. You see Taldred pulling along, having a bit of a time with it, the barely conscious form of Walter Forbes.
Where do you need me?
Taldred kind of looks at you and he goes, I don't know. As far as I can tell, we've done all we can. I need to get Walter back to the temple.
I'll nod vigorously and turn back around and just look. I don't have anything to do. I'm being bounced everywhere like a little pinball. I will end my turn with a head full of purpose and no actions.
You feel frustrated. You have immense power and yet nowhere to direct it to. Brenner Oswick, feeling some of the same as it becomes your turn?
No, he's got a pretty simple directive of bring people to Taldred. Especially in a medical emergency situation, he's deferring to the one that knows what to do in. But he would like to look over New Paul as they are walking back. Does his gait seem fucked up? Or worse than well?
He's got a rough walk. This is somebody who was tossed, and certainly the wind was knocked out of him, but he doesn't seem to have any particularly grievous injuries. He can walk, he can talk, he can move. Nothing about him suggests a immediate exigent medical emergency to you.
Sure. But still worse enough off for wear that I feel comfortable in taking him off his fictional battlefield.
Yes.
Lead him at least back down to the bottom of the stair.
He takes his movement with you. You take him to the battlements.
Remember the one with the nice hair?
It takes him a second, but he says,
It does? It shouldn't.
I remember the one with the nice hair.
Should be upstairs. He'll patch you up.
I think we have other concerns. There's no way that I'm the worst of us. I saw where that bomb went off.
It's right next to it, too.
Where's Smithfield?
Brenner's face twists a bit, as if he is both satisfied and dissatisfied with the situation. As if he's unable to really come to terms with the death of somebody he did not respect, but his death is a death all the same.
He reads your expression, and a sense of dread sets in. He says, "Where's Ruthenberg?" Seeming to know what will happen next.
Brenner is not aware of her last name and shrugs.
Back at the temple. Nothing gold. It becomes your turn as a wraith of vengeance descends upon you. You have a moment to react. A scaled creature, some horrible beast, is about to land on top of you.
I think she wild shapes into something small, like a rabbit, in an attempt to jump out of the way, just like very reflexively.
Is it possible to take an attack of opportunity as a grapple instead of damage?
Well, I don't know that she'll run out of range so that you can take an attack of opportunity. I guess in my head she's like dodging to the side.
I'd like to adjudicate it this way. Can both of you first roll initiative? Do an initiative roll off. It's like athletics, but with who's faster on the draw.
Nat 1.
$16.
Gastmere, you should your intention be to stop this, you have so much of an edge here in terms of who acts first that you have a little bit of latitude here. You can stop Nothing Gold before she becomes a rabbit. You can should you choose to attempt to grapple her, you could try to do that.
Yeah, Gastmir's goal would have been to basically slam Nothing Gold to the ground and grapple her with like the claws at her neck, but not do actual damage because she wants to monologue.
Let's
or have a conversation at claw point.
Let's do the athletics then.
Okay, and I am raging, so I roll with advantage.
Do I roll something in opposition?
Yes, you roll something in opposition, strength or dex.
Good luck on that. I don't think you can actually top this. I'm sorry, I rolled a 20.
A nat 20 or dirty?
Yeah. I rolled a 19 and a 20, so that's with my athletics.
I mean,
that's 27.
I'll roll. Yeah, I'll roll, but yeah, that was a 10, so.
You are briefly overpowered. Gastmere, there is something in your lungs, something you wish to say, something you wish to bellow out in your rage.
Okay, so she's holding Nothing Gold against the floor, like with her claws to her throat, but she's not flexing. She's just kind of threatening, and she says in a very throaty kind of voice, like guttural, but hissing in syllables. And she goes, "The prophet you took such an interest in is dead. Killed by you. What have you done? What have you done?"
And Nothing Gold, it is your turn. What have you done?
I think she's like struggling to say something, but there's an element of denial there, so it's like she's saying something, but it's caught between her baring her teeth and like trying to twist out from underneath her, but she obviously can't get away from the fact that she's telling her that the prophet is dead. And so I think there's something very much like a panic attack that sets in.
Do you still attempt to wild shape or anything like that, or has this been superseded by Gastmere holding you against the marble?
You said it wasn't like her claws are digging in, so no actual damage has been done yet.
No actual damage, no.
No, I think she's just flat on the ground on her back, just.
Euros, you see this. Someone, something, comes charging up the stairs and pins Nothing Gold. It is your turn.
Give me a sec to think.
Take your time. You have moments to think. You get the impression that these next few actions of yours could be rather pivotal.
Yeah, so I'm not even gonna think. I'm just immediately gonna charge at whatever jumped on Nothing Goal. So I'm going to. Yeah, I'm just gonna charge at whatever jumped at her. I don't know if I can make it though.
This creature is 45 feet away. Some black scaled thing. Some physical manifestation of the power of vengeance and rage.
It's a bit familiar. I saw it once.
It is a bit familiar, if you think that Euros has the presence of mind to sum it up from familiarity right now.
Can I go ahead and make a perception roll in the midst of my impulsiveness to react, to try and gain a sense of...
Certainly.
13.
What are you attempting to ascertain? Is this thing familiar to you?
Yeah, that's what... I'm trying to ascertain friend, foe, whatever it could be. So, I've seen Gasmere in her scaly form once briefly, so I would like to think because that was recent, I can at least recollect that somewhat recently that, hey, this is kind of familiar.
I agree 100% with your yes. I think you do. You recall, you know who that is. That's Lissa Gasmere. What you don't know is friend, foe, neutral. That part gets a little muddy.
So I will, instead of attacking, because of that realization, I will simply just yell "stand down" while I'm running forward.
Am I allowed to yell back?
Certainly.
Castmere's head kind of snaps to the side and she focuses her glowing gaze on Euros and says, "Minion of Cyric, you're in on this!"
Still your turn, Euros. You watch as a paladin clambers up the stairs, chasing after the same thing that Gasmere was.
Shit, I forgot about Samantha.
I don't know what she is talking about, so I'm simply just gonna yell "stand down" again. I am quite confused.
As you perhaps ought to be. Back on the wall, Taldred Talton.
Taldred, Alright, so... About how much time would you say has passed since the detonation?
90 seconds.
God, no, really? Shit, okay. Well, Taldred's starting to get mildly impatient as he feels like he has nothing to do while he waits for someone to help him move Walt. He looks over at Ada, and he says, I think first comes, like, him looking her up and down, trying to judge how hurt she is.
Well, I'm covered in blood.
Everyone's covered in blood right now.
Yes, fair enough.
Taldred says, are you hurt? How bad is it?
I think I'm a little hurt, but I can't really feel it right now.
Taldred, you're not sure why is Ada yelling at you. It all seems very strange.
Taldred has ideas about that. Let's see. Taldred's gonna toss her a heal regardless, just to, yeah, like let's throw in a level 1 cure wounds.
Just one on the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like shit can go south literally at any second. We don't know if there's an attack coming. All right, Taldred's, he feels like he's just sitting around doing nothing right now.
I will not resist.
Okay. Let me double check that. You get 17.
Very nice. Does this help my hearing, or am I still at a concert?
I think you're still at a concert.
Yeah, that would be more like a restoration, which can help with things like deafness.
Okay. Thank you! I was pretty close to the explosion.
Taldred says,
that
"Me
rings
too?"
close to you.
Yeah.
Sorry, that rings true to you, I mean. I'm sorry, go ahead.
He looks out over the battlements to see if there's anything coming from... I'm pretty sure he's already... Yeah, because he heard Ada talk to the archer. Like, everyone's yelling, so he definitely would have heard that, since all he has been doing here is sitting here watching everyone else. So, no, I don't even think he'd even bother looking this, at the tree line or anything. He's just twiddling his thumbs, waiting for Brenner to get up here.
The paladins of the Radiant Heart go. Brenner, Paul Arthraid looks you in the eye and says, "We have to stop her right now." And without any further explanation, starts running south.
If he was good enough to run, I'll let him.
He does so. Back at the Temple of the Radiant Heart. Samantha takes her movement. 1, 2, 3, 4. Converging on you, nothing gold. She calls over to Skip, the paladin, and says, "Kill the aberration!" And she casts a spell. She casts Staggering Smite and maintains her concentration. Places her hand on her sword, unsheathes it, and attempts to stab you into the ground. Nothing gold. What is your AC?
16, but she'll reflexively cast shield.
Okay. She stabs into your shoulder with her sword. Make a wisdom saving throw.
Six.
Take 13 slashing. Take 21 psychic. On your next turn, you are at disadvantage on attack rolls and ability checks, and you can't take reactions next turn. Your blood pools underneath you. Gastmere, it becomes your turn. You realize that one of the paladins of the Radiant Heart is right next to you, stabbing into Nothing Gold. Her sword seems impossibly sharp. The power of Helm seems to make it drive deeper. You sense
Samantha.
that she is good at slaying aberrations.
Yeah, I think Nothing Gold is very much twisting underneath you, trying to get away.
I'm not a fan of this because, like, somebody else is trying to cut in on a dance that she started, and she bares teeth and hisses at Samantha, and simply says, "Fuck off."
Roll intimidation.
Ooh, do I have intimidation? That is a 10.
You growl, fuck off. You're not sure if she's gonna fuck off. It remains your turn.
Probably not. Didn't expect she would. She seems a bit interested in this business. Conveniently, because I already have Nothing Gold grappled, is it possible to drag her with my movement?
You could sort of foist her. You could take her relatively small form and huck it or something like that, or, you know, sort of use a little bit of impulse to, like, toss her or something like that. Depends on your intention, I suppose.
I think the intent is that Gasmit is reluctant to let go of Nothing Gold herself, but she also doesn't want to give up this toy to Samantha. So the intent would be like, is it possible to take... I think normally when you, like, drag people, you can take, like, half your normal speed kind of movement. So would it be possible to take Nothing Gold and...
Do you want me to have disadvantage on attacks of opportunity? Because that's
Yeah,
gonna happen here.
You will provoke. You have a sense that if you attempt to move Nothing Gold, you're going to provoke an attack of opportunity.
I thought she can't take reactions.
Yes, so she... Well,
It's me.
yes,
that can't
she
take-
can't take reactions.
Samantha can't.
Yes.
Yeah, but my intention was also that because she's only going to do one attack of opportunity, I can intervene myself, and she hits me instead of Nothing Gold, right? Because I'm kind of on top of Nothing Gold.
Yes,
as well.
I think that
Like,
makes sense.
it's-
Yes, you
Cover, right?
Yeah,
yes, you,
like she can hit me.
you are providing limited cover. Sure, I think that makes... Yes, we will say that you're providing half cover with your hulking muscular body.
Okay.
So,
So what she's
walk-
gonna try and do is grab. She has Nothing Gold. She's gonna try and, like, bodily kind of, like, haul her with her and get some distance, like, kind of towards behind Euros or something. Because the minion can eat some damage next, I guess. And I think because I won't be able to attack anyways, I think I'll just use, like, both my action and movement to actually try and move away. If that makes sense. I'm trying to kind of shoulder check Samantha on the way so that she's more likely to hit me than keep stabbing my chew toy.
how about a cardinal direction? Which direction are you pulling and moving away?
I think I can ping on the map, so it's just kind of... I'd be heading... So... Because I want to exit the temple as well, I think, so I'd probably be moving that way.
like northwest, sort of
Yeah.
toward Euros.
Yeah.
Yes, you can do this. I think you can get 10 feet, or you can drag Nothing Gold behind Euros. Assuming Euros allows this.
Assuming. It's a very confusing day to be Euros.
It is.
What's going on?
And so let's start here. Euros, you see this happening. You see Gastmere raging, trying to foist and pull Nothing Gold away from under Samantha Ruthenberg, who is swinging and chopping and trying to kill Nothing Gold. Do you allow them to use you sort of as a physical barrier here to stop this?
Yoris is gonna try and stop this. He doesn't have enough information again, and his instinct is to save. So he's going to try and rescue Nothing Gold. So I won't let her pass. I won't let them do what they want to do.
You will not. You stop it. You, to make sure I understand. When you so you do not allow Gasmere to pull Nothing Gold behind you. You sense that something is amiss here and move to block this.
Right.
Got it. You, Gastmere, you find no quarter. Euros stands in your way. Samantha takes her attack of opportunity.
I think we're probably not even going to manage to leave her range, though, if Euros is blocking this, because there's
Yeah.
only 5 feet.
But you are
It's basically-
pulling. She is cutting down on Nothing Gold on the ground. If you move her at all, she's going to get a free swing here, and she does. Okay. Do you intervene? Do you take this
Yes.
blow? Okay.
That was still the intent.
What is your AC?
Let me. I am dual wielding because of the claws, so that's a 17.
She hits. Take 13 slashing. She goes for Nothing Gold, but catches the side of your torso. Your ribs stop the blade.
I think that has the rage dropped. I lost track. I think it has. Nobody hit me last turn, right?
Correct. Yes, I believe your rage dropped on East Rose Boulevard, and I don't think you've re-raged yet.
No, I just re-raged the.
Oh, that's right.
The staircase.
Of course. Yes, that's right. Did a turn elapse with no damage? I think you are raged regardless. Yes, you are still enraged.
Okay, so 13 halved. 6.
She grits her teeth as she hits you, wondering why you would save this aberration. Eurosnalian, you see the eyes of this paladin. She is furious with vengeance and wants to kill Nothing Gold. She sees that you stopped them from using you as cover and looks to you for assistance. She says, "Kill them with me!" Skip looks conflicted. Ada. Back on the wall.
I'm going to, seeing that there's just confusion and things happening, I am going to plant myself as high as I can. What's the highest point on this wall?
The top of the gatehouse. So the central battlements where the stairs are is the. If you look at the stairs to your west there that lead upward to the gate mechanism there. Yes, exactly.
I am going to perch myself here kind of short, so I'm gonna stand on my tippy toes, and I'm just gonna look. And I'm staring out in any direction for anything that looks amiss. I'm trying to get an eye on the Lancers, and I'm trying to figure out if anything's coming. And as I do, I will think to myself, a sabotage explosion does feel like the work of the Zentarum. And I need to go to that fucking Temple of Cyric and knock some heads.
Everything you're saying feels like you are deductively building a narrative inside of your head. This makes perfect sense to you. That is where you should be. That is where you should be knocking heads. Where the fuck is that priestess of Cyric, Ada? You watch as the Lancer, gleaming with martial power, the last cavalry of Cormyr, rides along the road looking for an enemy that you think is never going to show up. Still your turn, Ada.
I'll just ruminate and sit there and get more and more frustrated.
You ruminate, feeling frustrated. Brenner Oswick.
Also frustrated. He'd make his way to the bottom of the staircase and bellow up, "Taldred, you have it covered up there. We need to regroup at the temple."
Taldred would yell, "I need help moving someone."
Fine. He'd make his way up the staircase. Is that all we can manage? As he's gesturing towards the body in front of you.
Taldred's like, everything else is... He's the only one we've got. But he can't move on his own very well.
He's murmuring and babbling about nothing.
Brenner would approach Walter. Could you refresh me on how big Walter is as a person?
He is a barrel-chested man. He is relatively not well-built. This is not a martial person. This is not a... he's not in good shape, but he's a fairly large guy. Big and meaty. Fleshy. A bit doughy.
Sure. Between Taldred's strength and Brenner's 18, do you think that the both of us could manage him downstairs?
Certainly. Yes, when working together, lifting a body by yourself, very tough. Lifting a body with two people, fairly easy. So yes, the two of you working as a team would have a pretty easy time getting him down the stairs. You could carry him like he is a stretcher. You could help Taldred get him over his shoulder. Taldred could help you get him on his shoulder. A lot of ways to do this.
How conscious is Walter at this point? You say he's just muttering, but obviously not conscious enough to be helped walk, correct?
Yes, you sense that he is in and out of consciousness. He is mentally incapacitated, perhaps.
Twofold action. One, just as a question, you've noted that the portal keys are around his neck, right? Does Brenner notice this?
You, Brenner Oswick, notice this. You look at his neck as you ask me this, and you see there are two peculiar-looking keys jingling around his neck on a thin leather strap.
He'll rip it off of his neck before putting him over his shoulder.
You rip two portal keys from Walter Forbes' neck. You're not sure if he noticed that or not. Go ahead and go ahead.
He doesn't care if he did or didn't.
Taldred, you noticed that.
Yeah, and Taldred would be 100% okay with that, because if anybody was to have access to the keys, he would have wanted to be Brenner anyways. So, Taldred think that's a great fucking move.
Brenner Oswick, you have something new on your person. You have two Zentarum portal keys. Where do you store them? They seem important to you.
At the moment, he'll just pocket them.
You do so. And so that was part one of your action. What was the second part of your action?
Having Taldred assist him to put him on his shoulder and transport him towards the staircase.
Taldred, you assent to this.
Yes.
And once Ada's back, he'll bark out to her as loudly as he can that we need to regroup at the temple, as if she should follow up.
You call for Ada to accompany you and regroup. When Dave comes back, we will apprise him of that update. Do we want to take our 5-er? It's 7 o'clock.
That sounds good to me.
I was thinking a short session tonight, but I'm feeling pretty good. If you guys are feeling pretty good, I'm good with let's take our 5 and let's motor on, okay?
Yeah.
You bet.
Okay, see you in a bit.
There
Meh,
he goes.
Hi.
it'll be fine.
Hi.
And he's like, the problem is Brenner has not associated you with being a traitor, and he doesn't understand why that would be a problem. He just
was
has
being a
some.
traitor?
wonder.
That probably washed out fine. Whatever.
Ooh, something I forgot to notate. Initiative order. Where were we? I believe
we
Brenner
ended up
Brenner
in
just
melee.
went. Right? Brenner just went. Is that correct?
So, correct. If you want me to recap for Ada.
Oh,
Brenner-
please. Yes, please. Please recap for Ada because this is pointed at you, Ada.
Oh,
Brenner
okay.
has come back up the staircase, taken the keys off of Walter Forbes and
That I
pocketed them.
saw, yeah.
Cool. And has agreed with Taldred to get him downstairs, and he has barked towards you that we should make our way back towards the temple to regroup. It is safer there. They have medicine.
Okay.
Brenner, anything else? Oh, nothing gold. You have something?
Well, can I ask a question about the world building?
Please. Yes, I'd love to answer questions about the world building.
It's like catnip.
Restoration from death? What's the status on that?
Well, I mean, canonically, it's true, according to your party.
You have a sense that in certain corners of the world, people have been able to be brought back from the terrible jaws of death. However, you know that that certain requirements must be in place, like a whole body, for example. You cannot, your mind cannot be obliterated, and you are perhaps passingly aware that these days, when someone is brought back from the brink, this is almost always associated with dark magics.
Gotcha. Okay.
As a brief aside to the end of my turn, how far would you say we got Walter across the map with the assistance of Taldred?
I think you guys could probably get him, because neither of you did anything else this round, to the bottom of the stairs.
Sure.
Why don't I update that? You guys can be down there.
I would just like to say that before they head down, Taldred would go to the remaining person up here, the archer, and he would explain that they're moving Walter to the Temple of the Radiant Heart, and should she see any, kind of suspicious activity, to send a runner for us, or to just come herself, anything.
You have a sense as you impart this information on her that she seems a bit shell-shocked, as one might be after something like this. You provide these instructions, but you wonder who would be the runner, and you hope that this person has the mental faculties to be an effective watch person given their current state. But yes, you pass that message along before you go down the stairs.
Taldred will kind of put both hands on her shoulders, give her a shot, got a little shake. He says, "You do your job, we'll do our job. Don't worry."
Roll persuasion.
Okay. $16.
You feel effective. You get the impression that your words are a pragmatic inspiration. Nothing like an appeal to, you do your job and I'll do mine. I believe, Brenner, back to, so anything else for your turn?
That should be everything. Just bringing him downstairs.
Back at the Temple of the Radiant Heart. Nothing gold. Blood gushes from your shoulder. It's your turn.
So I think at this point she's just like roaring in sort of similar rage and fury, and Sort of what's coming out from the back of her throat is almost the sound of wood snapping and fire crackling. And she's sort of screaming over at Samantha, I didn't do it. I don't know what happened. Every second you're wasting on me is one more second you're giving the Zentarum to cover up the truth. Killing me here and now without knowing for certain what it is I've done with no trial or jury will be to just desecrate your temple with the blood of the innocent. Is this justice? I swear to you, if I die, the prophet's dreams, your only hope of getting to the truth, your oaths to your God to defend those who hope to do any good in this fucked up world will die with me.
You make the case that your blood stains not just the temple, not just the floor of the temple, but her faith itself. Her eyes are filled with nothing but fury. She pauses for a second. She's listening to you, but she has yet to sheathe her weapon, certainly. She growls back at you. The Watcher sees what you did. I know. She takes a hand and tries to grab your neck. I know you passed a note to that fucking priestess. I know what you fucking did. I didn't see it, but Helm saw it, and Helm sees all. The Watcher and me will have our vengeance.
You don't know what it said, and it had nothing to do with this bomb.
Her hand is still on the hilt of her sword. It remains your turn, nothing gold.
I think while she's screaming, some defensive maneuvers. She will... Okay, so can I use a bonus action and then ready an action if she attacks? Again?
What's the defensive action?
So she has pyrotechnics, which can set off smoke to sort of obscure vision. And so if she attacks, she sort of wants to obscure the area that she and Gastmere are in, so it's harder for her to hit.
You want to ready your action to sort of pop smoke. You've been hit with Staggering Smite and can't take reactions.
Holding your action uses your reaction.
Oh, does it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know.
Yes.
it does, yeah.
Hmm.
You are feeling a bit staggered.
But your hand is still on the piece.
Okay.
You
Can
are
I cure
good.
wounds myself?
I don't see why not.
Just die a little less. Alright, so 12. And then she'll cast as her bonus action. I do still get a bonus action, right?
You still get a bonus action, yes.
Sanctuary. So I think because she's prone and there's like a lot of disadvantage, it'll probably just be a straight roll to try to hit her.
Advantage and disadvantage tend to cancel each other out, yeah.
Yeah. So there has to be a wisdom saving throw involved. On a failed save, the creature has to choose a new target or lose the attack.
Noted. You cast Sanctuary. You summon the power of the Seldrine and cast the spell. You have a funny feeling inside of yourself, nothing gold. You feel like Samantha has transgressed.
Oh, I know.
It's still your turn. You cast Sanctuary on yourself. You feel a bit inured against her next attack.
How are Gasmere and Euros looking?
Ashna's looking angry. Like, she's looking like she's having a bad day. She's a bit singed, she's a bit bloodied, she's dirty. It's a bit difficult to say. Her clothing is definitely ruined, and she's probably mad about that as well.
For reference, if nothing gold gets hit again, she will definitely go down. She's that injured.
What about how does Euros look?
A mixture of confusion and extreme frustration.
And I think it becomes your turn, Euros.
So, Yoros is torn between, well, there's three people yelling at each other. He doesn't know what to make sense of. He knows nothing gold is being attacked, or he sees nothing gold is about to die. The paladin is making claims. Gasmir is making claims. And so Yoris is just beyond frustrated. So as a bonus action, he is going to cast Cloak of Flies. So in his frustration, the shadow, the faint shadow that was around him explodes forward, and there's an aura of flies that flies around him. And after that, he's going to make an intimidation check with advantage on everybody around him, and he's just going to bellow as loud as he can, "I said stand down."
Roll the intimidation at advantage.
27.
Your bellow echoes across the marble chambers. You feel a bit of kinship with Taldred Talton. You stop the scene, Euros. Samantha Ruthenberg looks over to you. She pauses. You get the sense that she was about to take another strike at nothing gold, but she stops. Skip, the other paladin, stops too. You have everybody's attention.
Once again, I will state that I said stand down, back away. Let's get some explanations before you continue.
Samantha growls at you. There's only one way I'm going to stop and not kill this one. We have to go kill Maris right now, and her blade has to land the killing blow. If she's not a traitor, let's let her prove it.
You're not gonna prove that in battle.
See? Why won't she do it? Why'd she hesitate?
You want to sever our link with the one person who knows what happened?
I want to sever her link between here and the realm of the living. I'd also sever some arteries in her body, or yours.
What is your mission, Samantha Ruthenberg?
Don't you try to change this around on me. Right now, we're gonna go kill that priestess. You're going to come with us. I want to see you kill her, or no one will believe your loyalty.
Taldric Talton had that spell that you were furious about earlier. Why don't you grab him?
She looks over her shoulder. I don't see that cleric.
Is he injured? Where is everybody else? She turns to Gasser. Where is everybody else?
I imagine they're somewhere stuck behind, perhaps dead.
Everybody?
I saw bodies. I smelled burnt flesh.
To the Temple of Sirik, now. Not later, now. Not dependent on some zone of truth. We go now. You kill her or I kill you. It's that simple.
Fine, we'll go find this priestess. Step away from the Dryad.
On your honor then, Yoros. She does. She stands up. She wipes Nothing Gold's blood from her sword.
Does Gasmir let Nothing Gold get up?
If we are both rising, Gasmir will kind of like. Why is Nothing Gold wearing? Does she have something to grab?
Yeah, she has a cloak. It's,
He has a neck.
leather.
Yeah, Gasmir will grab like a handful of that cloak and just hold Nothing Gold up, and then she does not let go.
You control Nothing Gold with your hand. Yoros, still your turn, but it seems you have temporarily de-escalated this situation. Anything else?
Release Nothing Gold. We will find this priestess.
What about the others? You said
On
It was
my
better.
honor, as a fist, we will find this priestess. Nothing Gold, step away from them.
she looks over at Gasmir.
Gasmir leans. I was going to say in, but she actually has to lean down, so she's leaning down quite far into Nothing Gold's face and bares her teeth and says,
She breathes embers.
She snaps her teeth a bit. If you run, I will find you. And then she kind of releases the grasp with a shove.
You didn't before.
Never too late. I'll find you in death if I must.
All right, my favorite accomplice. Let's go.
Back on the wall. Taldry Talton.
Me and Brenner are just hauling Forbes back to the temple. Because in the downstairs they have a
Apothecary or something.
yeah, where we brought the miners, they had a I don't know what you would call it, like an infirmary, right?
Precisely. Yes, there are stairs. The southeast stairs in the temple lead down to an infirmary. Ada, are you also a part of this expedition back to the temple?
If it's announced, yes.
I believe.
Call for you.
Yes, Brenner.
Yeah, they wouldn't leave Ada there.
Then yes, I'm definitely coming with.
And you
You
had.
Sorry, just in our transit, Brenner will make mention of that blonde bitch said something of killing traitor. Her friend ran after her.
Nothing golden euros. I was having the same thought.
I think they
Why?
They're not here. They left right before the explosion.
we don't know why though.
I
lost
agree,
track of-
but I have some words for them.
Okay. We'll have words. There'll be plenty of words.
Not a good
Let's
kid.
go then.
I assumed this was while we were dragging him along.
It was, yes. As you indicated, this occurs as you are moving through the streets. You go down Westeros Boulevard. You arrive at the Temple of the Radiant Heart. You arrive just behind Parthraid, who is climbing the stairs. The Paladins of the Radiant Heart go. Paul rounds the corner, seeing this, and says, Samantha, stop. He looks confused when he sees everybody breaking away from each other and allowing Nothing Gold to withdraw. What's happening here?
Are
What
the
happened?
5 of us back together, or 6 of us back together?
Yes, you are arriving just as it is currently not your turn. It is the paladin's turn, but you are seeing the end of this happening. Paul does not
What?
get a response. He does not
What?
get what he's looking for. Gasmir, it becomes your turn. Forgive me, Nothing Gold.
Gasmir whirls around and looks at Paul. I think her rage is probably going to wear off here because unless somebody is doing something violent. Unless she's doing something violent. Nope.
Pull Nothing Gold's hair. I don't know.
For 1 point of damage.
Sure.
Would that actually maintain a rage? I don't think it does.
I don't think so. I think that there's sort of a sanity check to rage where, like, for example, you also can't carry a -3 dagger and stab yourself in the forearm.
Yeah. So Paul sees as Gasmir whirls around, like her scales kind of scatter at the same time, like whoosh, reveal her normal features, and she tilts her head and she looks a little bit disoriented at first. Like she's seeing somebody who almost died up there, but she does recognize him after a minute. You're alive.
It's
The others.
the others are coming. Well, what others are left?
These two made it out before the explosion.
I tried to
So
warn
I'm
you.
aware.
If you don't see
Priestess.
animals around and you see the one dryad in your party heading the other direction, maybe you should follow them.
The one dryad who gave a missive to the priestess of Cyric.
Who I gave to
Acolyte of
you.
Cyric
Who I
blew
gave
up.
you to give to the priestess of Cyric.
Samantha
It wasn't mine, was
nods. The Watcher sees all. You did do that.
Where is the prophet?
She
Wasn't
grits
moving.
her teeth.
Did you check?
Samantha growls into your face. She presses the bridge of her nose up against yours. Dead at your hand. Dead.
Gasmir
Incinerated.
Gasmir pushes Samantha a tiny bit and says, I already went through that before you came along and cut in. This was mine.
She snarls at you.
Gasmir snarls back. It's a snarl off.
It remains your turn, Gasmir. Actually, no, sorry. The paladins end their turn. Gasmir, it becomes your turn.
I don't think she's doing much else besides, like, she's not going to look away from Samantha. It's a stare off, it's a snarl off. She's looking very put off, but no longer, like, feral, at least. The priestess. Priestess of Cyric.
That's right. Paul sighs. I think, does anyone have any further hostile actions? Then let's go off initiative so we can combine some threads here. Our extant party rejoins Ada, Taldred, Brenner, with Walter Forbes in tow.
Before Ada walks up the steps, the cloak around me will dissipate, and I will put my dagger away, and the other sword will disappear.
You do so, Euros the Negotiator.
Okay, we'll walk up the steps. I'm pissed. What's going on here? There's a pile of people. I assume I see everybody with tense postures.
Not just tense postures, you see blood everywhere. There is a massive pool of blood on the ground. There is a trail of blood following Nothing Gold.
What happened in here?
I'll rush up to Nothing Gold.
She flinches away.
I'll look at her wound. Oh my god, what happened?
What happened with you?
The building we were on exploded. The priest of Cyric suicide bombed us.
Who is the priest of Cyric?
Roll
I met him-
intelligence. Roll intelligence, Ada.
I remember his name. David does. Let's see if Ada does. 21.
Ada does.
Lawrence, the priest of Cyric. We saw him 2 days ago at the temple to Cyric. You weren't there.
No.
And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
No,
He
but
detonated.
he detonated.
Listen, people are dead. The wall is breached. I'm covered in blood that's not mine.
Yes, and
And-
you're yelling. Is your hearing okay?
No. And I'll whip around and look at Yoros. Yoros.
Ada.
I don't want a zone of truth again. Are you working for Cyric? What is your little secret, you little weasel?
I'm not working for Cyric.
I'll stomp up to him.
He uses the shadow weave.
She's
I'll look
throwing
back
him
at
under the
nothing.
bus.
This is recriminative. Yoros.
Ada.
Did you have anything to do with it?
No.
Yoros! Don't fucking lie to me.
If I had anything to do with it, everybody here would have been dead. And yet
Many people have
everybody-
tried to kill me and failed. Just because you're incompetent doesn't mean you're not evil.
No, he was helping me protect the
In
temple.
The temple.
Yeah, I assume you didn't make the plan 8 minutes ago.
No. Do you think I'm smart enough to set off a bomb? Or whatever happened? No. I
So
chased
Val-
after the Dryad because she broke lines. And then she got jumped by a Samantha and Gasmere. And I put an end to it. What do you want from me?
I want more than that.
What else can I tell you?
I don't know. You have to tell it to me first.
I'm telling you all I can. I'm not with Cyric. I went after the Dryad because she broke line. And now we're here. And nobody is dead because of me. What else do you want?
Yeah, you're such a hero. I'm gonna turn around.
Walt
And look
Forbes
at-
mumbled
Sorry, go.
something.
I
Is it
assume at
co-
this point I placed him down gently someplace.
Is it coherent what he says?
Toldred, you may have been the one that was listening. Everyone else was arguing. You seemed to be taking your measure of the situation. It sounded like he said, "Stop saying that name in here."
Taldred pipes up about that.
Rasmir glares. She finds that, like, she obviously finds that, like, irrelevant at the moment. And she says, well, these two do have one thing going for them. Coming here would be exceedingly stupid if they were responsible. They should have gone to the Temple of Cyric, which is where we should be headed.
Samantha nods vigorously. Aye, that's where we're headed right now.
Let's
Agreed.
do it.
Said we would find the priestess.
All right, you saw Lawrence in the temple. What did you see him do?
He
I saw him
exploded.
explode in my face.
In the temple when you saw him a few days ago. What
Oh.
did you talk to him about?
We asked him to spy on Tierney Fang. Clearly, the operation has been the other way around.
Did he talk to Maris?
We almost got in a fight. A promise I intend to see through.
The situation is obviously a little bit more complicated than we're giving it credit for. Do you really think that the perpetrator that would send a suicide bomber towards us would just be sitting back in their little hut back there?
No, I imagine she's gone.
Yeah. And we're all
But do you have
bloody.
any better ideas?
100%, yeah.
Let's
Down
hear them.
those stairs, a pile of medicine. Am I wrong? We're all worse for wear. We're all angry at the situation. Charging forth into what is more than likely a trap. That sounds stupid. Foolhardy. We're talking, first and foremost, of the god of lies and deception. Am I wrong?
No, I've seen him.
And he... What are we doing here? Fighting amongst ourselves without information.
Let's get some.
Information would be at the Temple of Cyric, would it not?
You're not
Aye.
gonna get it from her dead body.
And I doubt you're going to get it from her. She's a spy and informant, and first and foremost would not tell you the truth. She's a priest of lie.
What I want from her is her dead body.
Why?
Samantha nods.
I intended to have dead
why
bodies.
does this
You'd be
one-
a dead body, not nothing gold. I could have shredded you.
Exactly. Why does this one protect the Syrikites?
Is she pointing towards Ben?
She's pointing toward nothing gold.
You mean our
Right.
only link to the mission that we're all supposed to do together?
I want answers. I want blood as well, but I want words. I want an explanation.
Alright.
What do you
let's go.
know, Nothing Gold?
I don't. I'm just saying you're not gonna find anything out if you kill her.
She's not wrong.
Yeah, she's not right.
Let's not kill her. I'm sure we have methods of subduing her without killing her.
Alright, we need to come up with a plan. I'll tweak my finger in my ears because I realize I'm screaming at everyone.
Everyone's screaming, like Astme is yelling as well because her ears are still fucked, probably.
I imagine almost everyone at the blast explosion.
No, I
Okay,
just-
the attack. Where are the Centarum?
They could still be coming. We have somebody on the wall watching.
It's
No
really...
one is coming from that direction.
In your
know
soul,
that.
Dryad.
I hate to break it to you. Armies rumbled. The ground was still.
It is like the Zentarum to do this, to gather us all and try and assassinate us in this way. Armies are not their way.
That's what I said when we first met.
And you were right, Taldred. You were right.
What we need right now is to calm down first, and then make a decision.
We tend to agree.
I am calm, says Gastme, and looks like she's about to rage again, but doesn't yet.
Right.
I don't think the Syracite will give us any real answers. I think what we will do is destroy a conduit to Zental Keep.
Why wouldn't she give us real answers?
Well, her second-hand man just suicide bombed. I would assume she would either lie to her death or do the same.
Hey, to bring this up now, why was he there in the first place? Is he staring directly at Samantha? The only person there that would...
Good question.
Because somehow he convinced Smithfield that he was a force for good and was here to help. One of John's many personal misgivings is that he was far too trusting.
You're a paladin of Helm.
She nods. The Watcher watches over me.
Yeah, Helm sees all. Can you give us some insight?
Yes.
Can Helm give us some insight?
Yes. I have a simple method to determine if this one is a traitor. If she won't kill Maris, she is a traitor. Is that clear enough for you? Can you see through that veil?
Well, now isn't that jumping the gun a little bit?
Jumping the gun? You were there when... Did you see the explosion? Did you not
was
feel
there.
that?
You know, I was.
I think the gun has been jumped, my friend. The time for action is now.
I
No,
agree.
the time for action would have been before this happened.
She nods
I
at
know
you,
you're-
Gastmir.
Eager to blame somebody other than yourself. But if there's anyone that's to blame for Smithfield being dead, it's you.
Roll persuasion.
Don't mind if I do.
Roll persuasion at disadvantage.
Okay.
It's the fear of being fed more lies the only thing keeping us from the temple now. Shouldn't we still try to extract answers from the priestess?
The fear of walking into more bombs is
I believe that
More
comes
what's
out
looking at-
to a 15. Let me double check that. 15.
You manage to not provoke her into violence again. She grits her teeth and glares at you. Cleric, don't get me started on your apparent motivations.
My apparent motivations.
Yes, you come in our house, you cast Zone of Truth. With every step, I can hear coins jingling in your pack.
It sounds like some truth would have done some good around here. Helm's supposed to see all, but it seems like you've been blinded by rage, little Helm follower.
Helllight.
Told you wouldn't know that.
Her brow furrows. I can't think of a single reason that we're not already marching on the Temple of Sirik.
Because it could be a trap. Because that might not be what we should be focusing on right now.
And do you have a better idea?
If it's a trap, why don't we send a scout?
oh, a canary into the coal mine. Who would we send? Who are you willing to cast off, Ada?
I would go.
I would not let you.
I
You
can
would
go without
die.
being detected, although the Sirikites might be able to see me.
If anybody is suited for scouting, it's me.
You?
Me.
He's fast and dumb.
Right.
No, I agree. We should send someone that Maris would not recognize.
That's a good point. She'll definitely recognize me.
Even if I'm on amiable terms, not a good idea on my end either.
And Yoros is the only one among us who has apparently not suffered some sort of injury.
They have a network. They know all of us by now.
This is true.
It should all go.
Samantha nods to that. I am less than worried about another bomb. I am more than worried about a knife in my back from one of you.
Yeah, I noticed you weren't worried about bombs. That seemed to do much to help anybody who got affected by the last one.
You ran off. Let them die.
Alright, who's staying with Skip?
Who's
I'm going to
Like, Skip needs a babysitter.
I'm gonna draw close to
Poor little
Yoros.
Skip.
No, you're gonna leave one guy to defend the entire temple alone?
Skip knew what he was signing up for. This is his job. Please allow him to perform it.
Do you feel comfortable staying?
He nods. Aye. It's what I was made for. Watching the temple.
Yoros,
Ada.
can you go without being seen? Magically. You know what I'm asking you.
Absolutely.
The Sirikites will probably be able to see through that. Don't lean on it too much.
I have other methods of movement too.
I'll be
We
honest.
really
I
should
think
close
we
in
go
on the temple at the
open-handed.
same time.
He leads a slight scouting party ahead of us. We all go together. No more knives in anyone's back. No more bombs in anyone's coat.
Yoros, you draw from the Shadow Weave. I suggest you not draw from it near the temple.
Fine.
Skip, was it?
He nods to you.
He'll gesture towards Walter. Ensure that he is tended for.
he's already moving to assist Walter Forbes and taking him to the infirmary.
Whose blood is this?
Everyone, let's move on.
Taldred points to the floor.
It's mine. Let's go.
Are you okay?
Not particularly, but I don't think.
Taldred will definitely look her over.
She's fairly injured. Like, she can't really use that arm.
Okay. What? Give me a percentage of hit points, would you say?
She's at 60%.
Okay, he'll do level 2 then.
In the yellow.
Taldred will make a move, like, wordlessly to heal. Nothing gold.
It probably feels familiar, this magic, right? That he draws from.
Mm-hmm.
It does.
She gives him a curious look. Who did you say your god was?
Salune?
Not Sehanine?
What?
Say, honey.
Sehanine?
No? Taldred is so confused right now.
The goddess of the moon? No?
Is that how it's pronounced?
No.
It's
it's a
not a
different god.
character. I was gonna say, yeah.
It's an
like-
elven god. It's in the.
I'm
elven
pretty sure I
pantheon.
specifically looked this up, so I would pronounce it properly.
But she's saying another word in Elvish.
Hmm.
The Seldarine's like a council of god elves,
Right.
and that's one of the god elves on the council.
Right.
But there's probably just blank looks all around. Like, they're not speaking the same language.
And Taldred goes, "So can I help you, or?"
Oh, no, sorry, yes, please. This...
Okay. Yeah, let's level 2 cure wounds, which is a number.
Why aren't we already going?
Would you prefer if she bleed out on the way?
We don't want her to slip.
26 hit points
Oh,
restored.
at full, thank you.
Wouldn't be the worst thing if she bled out on the way. I may make her bleed out on the way.
Taldred whirls around at that. You are the least useful person here. Shut the fuck up.
She advances towards you.
Mm-hmm.
I'll advance as well.
Taldred like holds off an arm towards Ada.
Cleric, what is your business here?
I'm here to rout out and destroy the Zentarum.
Then why do you defend this one?
Because if there's one thing the Zentarum is good at, it's spreading misinformation and distrust. I would suspect somebody of your station to know that.
Some distrust is earned. Remind me, what happened moments before the bomb went off?
Can we knock this shit off and get a move on? You're the one that wants to go, and you keep fighting.
Then let's go, now.
I'm waiting for you to move. Go.
Lead on. A radiant one.
She starts moving to see who, if anybody, follows.
I carry Payson the very far back.
You notice that she pushes past Paul Arthraid and does not acknowledge him.
When I pass Gasmere, I'm going to whisper in her ear. Keep an eye on this, Samantha.
Why?
Taldred kind of catches a bit of that, and he kind of leans towards you two, and he's like, "Can either of you restrain people? Non-violently? Even violently, you know, like restrain. Restrain?
That I can do.
because you have the ability to do it. And Helm left this world long before the spell plague.
How loud did you say that, Ada?
I was trying to say it only in earshot of Gasmir.
Okay.
But my hearing's a little fuckered.
As is everybody's, I think. There's a baseline. If you were just in a concussive blast, I think in general your hearing will be affected.
Ada leans in like this, and then she just shouts at the top of her lungs.
Like a 4-year-old.
Okay, Castamere will say, also trying to be quiet, but Samantha's hearing's fucked as well, on the other hand. On your mark, then.
I'll touch my nose.
Talcher would try to box Samantha in, right? Like if there's someone to her right, he'd be on her left. Someone in front of her, he'd be behind her, type deal.
At this point, Brenner is keeping as close as he can to nothing. He'll lean in towards her. You're still under my ward. Don't make me regret it.
So an OOC question to the DM about the world. Is this surprising information that Ada says that Helm left the world, or is this something that anybody is able to know? Or
That would be controversial in most circles. That is certainly not a known fact. That would be something that is certainly nothing you'd say to a Helm worshiper. These people, if that is true, then these people have been keeping a hollow faith for the better part of a decade, and you can't imagine that they would agree with that.
I read that more along the lines of spell plague has made it difficult to contact them. It's more the implication there, right? Or did Ada more wholeheartedly mean that he had left the world?
What did you mean, Ada?
You heard what I said.
Okay.
Or maybe you didn't.
I think Gasmir is going to interpret that as being basically there's no Helm. If these are Helm saying this and that, then Ada thinks that Helm is just them saying stuff,
Will you touch on something very powerful, Gasmir? Where is the divination magic? Where is the power? If this god is real, where's the substance?
Well, she's gonna think on that. She's not sure what to think of that, but Ada has earned a tiny sliver of respect somewhere along the way, so she's more prone to at least considering what Ada says for now.
I need 3 minutes. Continue without me. I'll read the notes.
Who follows? Give me some hands up. Who follows Samantha Ruthenberg through the streets of Arabel, searching for Maris, the priestess of Sirik? I got everyone except Taldred. Taldred, you're staying here?
Run that by me one more time.
Do you follow? Samantha Ruthenberg is about to head south out of this zone toward...
Oh, yes.
So this is everybody, and I'm inferring that Ada does as well. Okay.
Does Paul come along?
It's a field trip.
Paul does not
Gasmir
come
doesn't
along.
As we pass
Paul
him,
stares behind.
Brenner will audibly apologize to not understanding what he meant when he left.
He makes eye contact with you. You sense a certain kinship here, Brenner. You sense that you are connecting with this person, and this may prove useful at a later point. In fact, Brenner, he says something to you. Something meant perhaps only for you. He says, keep an eye on that frosty one.
I'll give him a deep...
One moment. As you move through Little Avernus, you still see that people are running away from everything that's happening. Here inside the slums, people are cowering inside their small tenement rooms. You arrive somewhere old, somewhere very ancient. The Temple of Sirik here in Arabel. Samantha walks through the doors first. She unsheathes her sword. Maris is sitting in the back corner at her desk, waiting. When she hears the doors creak, she turns and looks over with an amused expression. She calls over. A bit early for worshippers.
Isn't the
You
thing
get
called
a-
entering?
Bit of
Do you get a
a...
lot of worshippers in this temple.
She smiles. Bit of a peculiar array of people.
Where's
Can't-
Lawrence at?
Can't say you look particularly peaceful.
Asmir strolls in justice. She says that, and she says that we're not here to kneel at your temple of lies. We want answers.
Samantha looks over her shoulder, wondering why more people don't have their weapons out. She looks extremely offended that people aren't already shoulder to shoulder with her.
Talder says, put it away. There's one person in here. You're embarrassing yourself.
You're embarrassing yourself. You continue to run a screen for these Sirikites? Maris smiles.
What do you know about the attack? Talder just walks towards Maris.
She shrugs. I have a feeling it was effective. Not my doing, of course. Surely, you wouldn't condemn me for the actions of someone I share belief with, would you?
Did you know the attack was going to happen?
Yes. But it's
And you
not...
let Lawrence do it anyways.
It's not my responsibility to stop the way of the world.
He said he was acting on Sirik's behalf.
I don't doubt that to be true.
And do you hail the Black Dawn as well?
She grins. Of course I do. Something wonderful is coming to the world. No offense to you or your Helmite in tow here, but everything you stand for, everything she stands for, is long dead.
Sounds like
Do-
that's a lie that you tell yourself.
Do try to keep up. Your quaint faith will offer you nothing here. But it was
Visions.
it was a pleasure seeing you.
Where did the visions come from? If you say Helm is long gone. Who
Have you
has been
seen...
whispering in their prophet's ear then?
Here's an answer. Who cares? The Helmites are seeing things. Wonderful. How impactful. The Helmites see things in the shadows. There's no real power. So they're forced to invent it. They think they see things. They think they do things. They are but specters of a dead god. It's all very sad, very... I feel nothing but pity for people like you.
Is it? Well, my insight is terrible, but is it possible to run an inside check on with that?
Certainly.
Specifically the bit that she doesn't seem to know about the visions, like, because if Gaspar was thinking, like, have these people somehow, like, vision hacked the prophet, where they're sending visions to the prophet?
I see where you're going with that. Yes, roll insight.
As this conversation is happening, I think Nothing Gold is leaning back towards Ada, and she'll tell her, Smithfield said the visions were coming from Mistra.
Oh my god. A 9.
You have a feeling, Gastmere, that while plausible, you have no way of confirming your suspicions. And I'm sorry, Nothing Gold, you were saying something.
She was just passing the information to Ada that Smithfield had suggested that his visions were coming from Mistra, in fact.
Samantha Ruthenberg unsheathes her sword.
was
Talger
Mira's
steps
response.
forward. And this is like sacrilege, right? He casts Zone of Truth in a Temple of Lies.
You cast Zone of Truth. You glimmer with power. Maris raises an eyebrow and looks amused.
I'll step forward.
Go
Make
ahead,
sure that I'm
cleric.
in.
He obviously centers it on her.
On whom?
Maris.
As you wish. You do so.
30-foot radius?
Yes.
We will say that it envelops the entire temple. If you
Sure.
should you wish to step out of the Zone of Truth, you will have to step into the entryway there.
Okay.
Maris looks amused by this. Unfortunately, cleric, how do I put this? Your pathetic magics do little here. But please, make the attempt. You could just ask me questions. What reason do I have to deceive you?
I don't have
Because
pathetic
you
magics.
worship the god of lies?
You do have pathetic magics, actually.
We may test
all
that
of you
later.
do. As you see fit.
If your magics are so strong, why'd you have to use bombs?
If you're so holy, why are you tracking blood into my temple? Couldn't even be bothered to wipe your feet. That one has her sword out.
So, Zone of Truth. Why shouldn't we kill you?
She smiles. Good luck. Strike me down here, and you will feel immediate consequences. It is, shall we say, not advisable, my friend, my little cleric.
Why?
Go ahead. Try it.
Have
She-
you heard of a dead man switch?
She holds her arm out. Go ahead. Strike me down, Selenite. Do your best. I invite you to try. She walks towards you.
Taldred turns to Samantha. He says, drag her out into the street.
I don't take orders from you. I
Do you
want
want to do this or not?
the Dryad to prove her loyalty and strike down her only ally so that you can see that she is no ally of yours either.
Well, we're in a zone of truth. Why don't you just ask the Dryad?
Yeah.
What of you, Samantha? What is your bearing? What is your mission here?
She grits her teeth and looks offended. Just my mission is to defend the temple to my last breath.
Yeah, see that.
Maris stands in front of you, Taldred. She
Oh,
she pulls up the sleeves of her robe, exposing bare, pale flesh. Go ahead. You wish to harm me? You'll never do it here. You'd only harm yourself.
Taldred turns to Samantha and he's like, we should not we should not cut down an unknown person in their own temple. Even you can see the truth in that.
Roll persuasion.
In the zone of can I get advantage because we're in the zone of truth? So it has to be the truth?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
One of those would be a 25.
She relaxes her sword arm and closes her eyes, seeming to summon just a bit more patience for a little bit longer. Say your piece then. Ask what you will of this foul creature.
I'm not saying we should talk to her. I'm saying we should drag her ass out of this temple.
Why?
You look nice and sturdy.
I don't take orders from you. Why are all of you so eager to defend this dryad who is obviously manipulating you?
Oh, yes, this dryad that has brought back those miners. In her own good faith. Saved
Nothing
others.
gold? Nothing gold.
Mm.
Step out of the foyer.
She's standing behind Brenner.
I
Do,
just-
do you see?
Come into the circle.
I assume she is in the circle at this point.
Yeah, I think she is. Like, it should have been following Taldred, right?
Well, no, it isn't come out of me, but it was centered in the temple, and it covers the entire temple except the foyer.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, then she'll step next to Brenner.
Reveal the contents of the missive.
It was a mixture of truth and lies, essentially saying that we would be heavily armed going to the mines. I expected that if this one actually had contacts within the Zentarum, they would have met us there.
Why?
Like I said, it was a tracer bullet. I'm trying to figure out if she's actually useful to us. And do you have a response for me, Maris?
She tilts her head. I expected us to talk under greener circumstances.
Well, both of our lives are on the line.
Not mine. Yours. I can see that it certainly is. Mine, I feel relatively confident in. You came here and threatened me in my temple. Not advisable, I must say.
But you make it so easy.
Yes, now that... Let me say this. Your agreement, does it still hold with the Temple of the Radiant Heart? That you would work with us?
Of course. Nothing that happened today would impact the services that I plan to provide. You want information on Tyranny Fang? That's not going anywhere. As soon as I have it, you'll have it.
Your
What?
divinator is dead.
I maintain other resources than poor Lawrence.
Did you send Lawrence to his death?
I wish that I could say that I did, but I didn't. I didn't know exactly what he would do. I knew he would attempt to strike at you all. A rather creative ploy, I must say. Just walking right up to you all and exploding. Rather effective.
I'm sure I
What was
could.
the point?
I could duplicate the same technique right here.
What was the point? Lissa Gastmere, surely you more than anyone understand the value of hatred. Think of how Lawrence felt as he died. Imagine if you could tap into that for just a moment. Think of how powerful you would be. Think of how powerful he was in his death. A true martyr for the cause.
How do you know her first name? Are you spying on all of us for Tyranny Fang?
Not for Tyranny Fang, but yes, of course I'm spying on you.
For whom?
For my own purposes, I'm a broker of information. Cleric, do you need to test that one? Does that fit your zone of truth?
Who's your main buyer?
Taldred gives a mighty yawn.
As I asked
So-
before, do you actually have a response for me?
Yoros, could you say what you said? I missed what you said a second. I'm sorry.
Who's your main buyer?
My main buyer. Is this a commercial transaction? Are you here to tax the churches, my friend?
Not me.
Not you, but someone. Oh, I see that insignia. I have a funny feeling I'll be seeing a lot more of you and your compatriots soon enough. And you, Nothing Gold. What did you say? Do I have a response for you? She smiles. Perhaps you and me can have a different conversation under different circumstances. I hold no ill will towards you. Nothing Gold, I would never harm you. Can you imagine? What a terrible fate that would be.
I
Time
would
out.
advise
That's a lie. Because she
against
withheld information.
conversations
A
that
lie.
go on behind our backs from now on.
You would accuse me of lying? Deception? How unfortunate. And you, Miss Gasmere, what was that?
I don't think you'll be having conversations behind our backs from now on. And she's
Oh?
all looking at Nothing Gold.
Watch this. She closes her eyes, and you get the impression she's having a little conversation in her head that you can't stop. Nothing Gold, a little something tickles your brain, just a hint of information, nothing special, merely a show of strength.
She's just telling me the weather to fuck with y'all.
Taldred,
Evidently that's also the truth because
Yes,
we're in
Ada.
the zone of truth. Okay.
I'm your muscle, but you figure this out. I'm done talking to this thing.
She's an enemy. 100%. Kill it.
Samantha nods. Yes, finally you all understand.
Here's the thing, I need a response from her or I'm not going to have somebody to replace her.
Ah, you sense that you will be rudderless without me. That is correct. Nothing Gold.
We can't risk what happened today to happen again.
It would have happened regardless of what we had done. None of the information that was passed involved that plan at the wall.
You're exactly right. The Black
Relying on the
Dawn.
Temple of Cyric in the first place was the most foolhardy thing we could have done.
The
I am
Black
not-
Dawn is inevitable. Don't
I-
just stop
No
fighting
one's
it.
talking to you, Taldred, like bats at her.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but
I do know killing the High Priestess of Syria within her own temple would only lead all of us to have too many restless nights. Is I not wrong, Mary?
Another sensible one. That's exactly right. Do you know what you all remind me of? Sailors that are drowning curse Umberlee.
I don't
The
feel
exact
sorry.
same energy as what I see in this room today.
When was the last time you spoke to Cyric?
She looks at Taldred as if waiting for his conviction as she says this. She walks closer to you, Ada.
Grasp my book.
She says, I talk to him whenever I'd like. Do you want me to speak to him now? Do you have a question for the one true power in the realms? Finally ready to give off these shackles of Mr. or whatever it is that you believe in? All of these dead and useless gods who have never given you anything?
Now, Maris, are you trying to proselytize?
I am, of course. I could always use more worshippers, more friends, more contacts.
I have one thought about Cyric. And yes, I've seen and spoken to him. I will growl in my throat and expectorate on the ground.
You do so.
Spit.
Of course. You spit a nasty projectile of mucus onto the black stone. You transgress.
If Cyric is the one true power in the realm, then I will die fighting him.
Well, at least you understand your lot in life. Unfortunately, this fate will befall you all. Well, not unfortunately, I suppose, but is there anything else? You are all so full of yourselves, and yes, nothing gold?
How sure are you that Tierney Fang is really all that into the Black Dawn?
I know that people act out of self-interest, as you do, as he does. I know what he seeks. Do you know?
We know something you don't know.
I find that somewhat hard to believe, but I know what tyranny seeks. It's the same thing that you all seek. If I held a crossbow to your head and asked you to beg for one thing in the world, you'd ask for it too. Immortality, right? Life beyond death. That's what tyranny seeks, and he would do anything to get there.
I would never ask for that.
Neither would I.
Oh, so you can't account for taste, I suppose.
You're weak. That's why you look for immortality.
Oh, please. What god do you worship again? Some elf? Something worthless like that? Something with no power here?
Taldred. Shit. Taldred goes for a slap. Taldred goes to slap the shit out of her.
Do you?
Yes, he does.
A bolt of black energy emanates from the altar and targets your right forearm.
I had a feeling.
Take 42 necrotic.
Woof.
Your slap still connects. Maris giggles. You leave a Taldred hand-shaped imprint on her face. She goes, ah, and seems to enjoy it a bit too much. Another one for the road, Taldred? I have a funny feeling that I can take this longer than you can. Samantha Ruthenberg sheathes her sword. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Taldred's gonna cast a heal on himself. He says, I don't know about that.
Side. Brenner is barking at the group at this.
What did Brenner bark?
Outside.
Good day to you.
How much necrotic was that again?
41, I believe. 42. I didn't write it down.
42.
42. Thank you.
We're not going to find the answers you seek. You're not going to met out any justice. Is at this point not really warranted. I trust her. As he's nodding towards nothing. She's no spy. No traitor. No aberrant. Don't wince behind me. Don't make me upset.
She's hiding something, and I think we all know it. We're
Probably.
all hiding something here. But your secret is with Cyric. How else should I interpret it, Nothing Gold? You weren't on the wall during the explosion, you were dodgy in the temple, and you were dodgy here. You were in the zone of truth, and you made it a point not to say the whole truth.
In front of the very person brokering information about us to someone else.
Now you're in
Yes.
front of me.
Then let's go outside and I'll fucking
We
tell
are
you.
outside.
Are we?
I assume
Yeah,
we're going outside.
Yeah, I think we'll probably
She's
left.
like, let's
Yeah.
go outside. Oh, yeah, right, okay.
I assume we are outside. My apologies.
It sounds like you are having this conversation outside.
Does Samantha come with us?
She does. She looks deeply frustrated, shaken even.
Taldred is sitting there, like, kind of like rubbing his arm, He's like, I told you to drag the bitch outside. Good job. What the fuck good are you?
What the fuck good are you? What did this zone of truth achieve in any capacity? Did we learn anything new? No. Do we know if Nothing Gold is a traitor? No.
Yes, we do.
All we did was we walked in here and we gave her infinitely more information than she had 2 minutes ago. Did you think of that for 1 second? We came in
Really?
here and told her everything we knew. We accused her of things that we could have confirmed anyway.
You think she didn't know the things we knew, or we said in there? Really?
Then what was the point of any of this?
Well, it was to take her out.
Don't venture aggression. Stop trying to kill everyone you.
Printer, I am not
Yeah.
trying to kill everyone I see, okay? But she knew that attack was going to happen. She says that she means no ill will to any of us, but she knew that some of us could have easily died in that attack, and she will do nothing to stop such an attack, and she is probably conspiring with people who will continue to do such attacks, even giving them information that'll make those attacks easier. That she is an eye. All right, she should be plucked.
Paraphrasing of word, Tawdry.
Touch my face when you say that.
Taldra puts a hand on Ada's shoulders. I am so fucking sorry about that.
To that end, I won't disagree with you. She is an eye. I also know, all too well, you deal with shadowy figures. You don't sleep. You sleep in the ground.
Shadowy figure's been trying to put me in the ground for 10 years.
Why do you need more?
More what?
Trying to put you into the ground.
I don't know if there could be more.
It means more shadows.
Let her cower in her temple.
She's already trying to put me in the
Nothing
ground.
gold.
That's why I hate her.
Yes, can we go back to the temple?
Preferably.
What use do you think she's going to be?
At this point, no. We've
I'm
assaulted her in
asking
her own
her.
home.
I'm not going to talk about this on the street.
Nothing Gold. You receive a brief message, merely 2 words. A pleasure.
To Safe Haven.
I'll follow.
It sounds like the party absconds to the Temple of the Radiant Heart
I had just written that word. Now I have to delete it.
to lick their wounds. Is that correct?
Sounds right.
Not wounded, but sure.
Yes.
Yoros gleaming with
Pristine,
Yoros having a good day. Well, let's cut the session here before this rest or this putting of the heads back together. Can everyone play next week?
Should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the 30th. That's good for everybody. Yeah. Okay.
Even if it was New Year's. I'd
Judgment. Yeah, you're going to be receiving a lot of that, Nothing Gold.
Yep.
Okay. Well, what a pleasure playing with you guys. I will see you next week for the next session.
I can't wait till the Githyanki show up in their Spelljammer. I just cannot wait.
We got 4 days to jump into Zental
Yeah,
Keep. Don't
easy.
worry about it. I got the keys.
They're going to
I got
fucking roll up in the middle of Zental Keep.
Wouldn't
I
that
hope
be
they-
cool?
So
I hope
cool.
they just blast through one of the floors of Zental Keep.
Yeah, right.
Like my like I don't know, my headcanon of Zental Keep is a giant dark tower like fortress structure.
It goes into the ground. No, it's,
Oh,
it's
really?
not about, it's below
Yeah.
ground. Yes, you are going, Brenner Roswick, you're going down into the earth.
The other way. It's an inverse tower. In any case, it's a long.
Well, that's exactly
If
right,
If
yes.
Yonki are looking for us, can we take out 2 flies by being at the Temple of Sirik when they show up and then just like shoving them at the priestess?
I'm pretty sure
could
we could still
try.
kill her if we all took a shot.
What about, is it too
Pretty
late?
sure we could drag her the fuck out of there.
Is it too late to get into the mithril mining game? Did you guys forget all about that? You could put in a shift.
Nothing Gold's into that.
Okay, well, I'm going to go eat. You guys are the best. Good night. See you next week.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night.